whichever one comes next, it don't matter to me. Like I said, I fight them as they come. I never was the type of fighter to shy away from a fight. You know, I'm always running to the fight. You know, I'm always getting called off to box more. I'm never the type of person to be like, hey, don't stand in front of this guy. I'm like, let me see what he gonna do. Let me see what he about.
Surrender is not defeat, child. You're resisting change.
Why would Spence about to fight Saturday? How me and Spence gonna fight?
Uh-oh. An older clip resurfaces of Terence Bud Crawford where he was talking about potential fights. Make sure you guys subscribe, like, and comment SLC. My name is Ego of Boxing Ego. This is my official YouTube channel. Damn, Errol Spence is sliced right there, right? That clip you seen at the beginning was Terence Crawford, and he was talking about potential fights, Sean Porter, which he did end up fighting Sean Porter. Also talked about Errol Spence. And you guys heard him. He says, I am not the type people be like coaching me or telling me, hey, don't stand in front of this guy. That's not advisable. And he said he's more the type that wants to see what this guy has. Now, a lot of people sent me this clip. Make sure you guys subscribe to my channel for the best in boxing, the latest and greatest. And they wanted me to give my thoughts on this particular clip now resurfacing. Now, I know there's been some time since the clip, but this is things that Terence Crawford said, and he was referring to fights with like Errol Spence standing in front of him. Since you guys want to know my opinion, I am of the belief that that would not be beneficial for Terence Crawford. If you look at some of the boxing legends, former fighters, and different people who have picked Crawford to beat Errol Spence, if you listen to majority, if not all of those game plans, they're almost telling Crawford, from Tim Bradley or Roy Jones, they're telling Crawford to box, 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 box. Now, one thing that I've told you in my assessment of Crawford versus Spence fight that is going to be interesting, I told you for this particular fight, they're both great fighters. I just have a series of questions, and the person who can best answer my questions or the quickest to answer my questions will likely win the fight. And one of the major questions that I've had for Terence Crawford is his mentality. And I know he's a dog, and there's nothing wrong with being a dog, but when he's saying stuff like he just said in that clip, that only reaffirms the worry that I have, because again, being a dog is great, but I also believe in life is about timing, and it's a time and a place to act and do certain things. Like, you wouldn't act the same way at a job interview if you really intended or wanted to get the job that you might act in front of your homeboys or your homies or whatever on the block. It's just two different worlds. And if you're needing to pay bills and stuff, you got to present yourself appropriately at a professional environment, or, you know, some kind of speaking engagement. You wouldn't want to use slang and, you know, just stuff like that. So timing is everything. And I believe there's a time and a place for everything. So there's a time and place. Like a mean machine, Crawford, he showed you he can fight fire with fire and fight that tempo and that pace in a dangerous style. And even though he got dropped in that fight, he showed you that he could go eye for an eye, tooth for tooth, and see what you're made of and prevail, because he did. He stopped Mean Machine and became the first to beat and stop Mean Machine in that particular fight. And that was his mandatory. However, I don't rate Mean Machine where I would rate Errol Spence Jr. for a variety of reasons. Errol Spence looks bigger, even though Mean Machine, you know, it got some size to him, pause. But Errol Spence looks bigger, and more importantly, he's just more of a decorated fighter, bigger fight experience, bigger event experience. All that stuff matters. Errol Spence has battled against Mikey Garcia, and there were 50,000 people in a venue cheering. So you have to be able to walk out and calm your nerves and be able to perform under the bright lights. And Errol Spence has shown that. He's done that even with the UGAS fight and in the Olympics, things like that. So all in all, I shouldn't have to go too far into depth, but Errol Spence is a champion and a more regarded fighter. In fact, when Crawford fought Mean Machine particularly, he was coming off a year layoff or so, and his previous fight was a draw that really should have been a loss to Ray Robinson. And that's just a ego fun fact. So when I hear Crawford saying that, you know, he's down to test your gangster basically and press that line on you and stand there and trade, and people are sending me this video, again, like, comment, and subscribe for the latest and greatest. You all can hit the bell icon so you don't miss a thing. That worries me for Crawford because Errol Spence has that buzzsaw type of style. And I believe Crawford and Spence are both dynamic fighters, but for different reasons. When I think of Errol Spence, I'll liken it to a gun. Errol Spence is more of like a chopper. He's more of like a AK-47 or something, right? Where you'll be riddled with bullets. Your car will be riddled with bullets at the end of it, and it's hard to make it through that. Like if someone just sprayed up your car, da, 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 and then, you know, the car has like 30 holes in it, 50 holes, a million shots, right? Terence Crawford, I think he's more precise. He's more agile and cunning and cat-like and stealthy. And he's more like a sniper. So it's like more of a Call of Duty sniper rifle. So he's somebody camped out on the roof waiting for you to make a mistake. And then when you pop out from, you know, this cover that you were hiding behind and he put you in the scope, just boom, he could just out of nowhere clip you. And that's kind of how it happened for Crawford in the Jose Benavidez fight. But this just, to me, it just confirms one of the questions that I have. It'll be interesting. Now, I'm not saying this from a point like if Crawford does do what he says and he comes out trying to stand in front of Errol Spence, I mean, bring it, you know, it's them two fighting, and it'll just make more excitement for the fans. And then, you know, obviously you're going to get a lot of props from the fans if you could beat Errol Spence at his own game. And it'll just be a scintillating fight. I'll put it that way, because so far in Errol Spence's career, he seems like he takes pleasure in taking a fighter and what they're known for doing and almost trying to beat them at their own game. So if you have two people on a train track and they're both, you know, speeding towards each other, then somebody got to move out the way. And if no one wants to move out of the way, then somebody's train's going to get derailed, you know, or two trucks playing chicken. If no one wants to swerve, it's going to be a head on and see who survives. And that's kind of what it is. So, I mean, Crawford, he's welcome to do this if this is what he's saying. But I've seen it where fighters will sometimes say they'll do a certain thing, and then you get in there and it could be something different. So I'm not necessarily going to hold Crawford to it, because at the end of the day, when you start feeling punches, and if the punches are adding up and you're like, oh, okay, this guy's faster or stronger than I thought, then hopefully you'll have to make adjustments. But in my opinion, since so many people were asking me about this clip that has resurfaced, I don't think it would be advantageous for Crawford. Now, I'm not saying fight in coward and not stand your ground, because it's a fight. Some guys will drag you into that, and if you don't fight your ground, then that shows weakness, or if you don't stand your ground, it'll show weakness, and then they're going to come for you. So yeah, he definitely has to stand his ground in spots. But if he just wants to have a slugfest and a shootout, I wouldn't really advise that for him being the smaller guy who's moved up. Plus, I think that's right up Errol Spence's alley. You know, like I said, most of the people I've seen that are picking Crawford, they're telling him to box, and box wisely and smartly and things like that against Spence. They're not saying, hey, trade and slug it out. So it could be a short night if Crawford decides to fight like that, because I don't think that would be and give him the best chance of winning. Now, with the exception of if Terence Crawford came in and he was making it an easy fight and he was trying to pull away and then he was going to switch it up later in the fight, possibly. But that's under the assumption that Errol Spence is just completely like fish out of water in a non-competitive fight, and he just doesn't know what to do, and then you trying to turn up the heat on him. But I don't really anticipate the fight would be like that. Some people are even likening this fight to maybe even a Hagler Hearns. So all things considered, I think especially early, I don't think that it would be wise for Crawford to engage with Errol Spence like he was kind of saying in that previous clip, or some kind of Hagler-Hearn all-out war, because that battle of attrition, Errol Spence is melting guys' faces, breaking their orbital bones. He's naturally bigger, etc. So that's just my 2 cents on the matter. Again, Crawford, he is welcome to fight however he wants, and if he feels he could beat Errol Spence his own way and beat him head up, toe to toe, it'll be interesting, because like I said, Errol Spence seems to enjoy that. He did it with Sean Porter and fought kind of a Sean Porter fight, beating him at that and dropping him. And he also continued to fight Mikey Garcia in that same type of vein, where people were saying that Mikey Garcia was so much better a boxer than he, and he seemed like he enjoyed trying to outbox while hurting Mikey Garcia just to prove people wrong. So anytime you have two dogs with that animalistic instinct, it could get real interesting real quick. Let me know, does that give Terence Crawford the best chance of beating Errol Spence or nah? Let me know in the comment section. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video's Ego. And I'm out. Introducing Super Thanks right here on the official Boxing Ego YouTube. Super Thanks allows you, the viewers, to show a little bit of extra gratitude, which enables me as a full-time content creator to push out the content you need in the world of boxing. Underneath all the videos, you will see a heart with the $sign in it. You can enter any amount that you find suitable as a super thanks. A brand new interactive and colorful way to get your comments highlighted and noticed by not only myself, but other people on the YouTube platform. Super thanks, a unique and cool way to show and applaud us full-time content creators. Hopefully you guys enjoy the content. Super thanks. The future is now. The Hibernation 5s by Kenichi Bear. Hybrid gaming and lifestyle headphones. Out of the box, you can connect to any console or PC. Bluetooth ready with a low latency USB adapter, color RGB, and extreme bass mode. The Hibernation 5s adjust to you. Whether you need a gaming, travel, gym, or lifestyle headphones, the Hibernations got you covered. The new Hibernation 5s, link in the description. Customize the way you hear the world. Welcome to the nation. Are you tired of your YouTube videos not getting any views? Well, consider TubeBuddy. I've used TubeBuddy for years to scale up my YouTube channel. Now we're sitting over 200,000 subscribers. TubeBuddy is a browser extension that offers a ton of built-in productivity and time-saving services to take your channel to the next level. Use my link in the description to get started with TubeBuddy and level up your channel faster. We working.